All right, let's just get right on into this. So, what feels like not so long ago, Teal Deer provided us with a bit of a hot take commentary piece on the pattern that exists in Western sub societies, which is a male dominated society, recreational community, or other social group forms. The group develops typically through some form of facing an external threat. The group reaches a point where it is established enough to be considered a legitimate segment of society, and thus becomes an association either without or with minimal risk of collateral social damage to those involved. Mildly to moderately attractive women begin making appearances more commonly throughout the community, despite a noticeable segment of them being less accomplished members of the community or less invested members. These new attractive female group members are given a pass or passed over where scrutiny is applied by established community members, and what criticism is directed at these women, regardless of its legitimacy, is policed more harshly by a predominantly male segment of the community, very commonly with primary emotional outbursts rather than refutation of the criticism. Well, when Tealdeer published his observation of what he perceived as this pattern appearing within the skeptic community, he absolutely faced emotional backlash from a number of community members, many of them specifically defending their friends whom Tealdeer had put forth as the attractive female laggard members of the community. While it earned him the ire of many a content creator, Tealdeer's criticism of this pattern also brought on behavior that would serve to cement the validity of his criticism in a way. But why am I bringing this up now? This happened weeks ago. Well, because this happened on the YouTube Saints last night.
Here's the point. Here's the funny thing about YouTube, right? Um, if you're a decent 5 in makeup, let's say, as this person is, or half decent 6, or so on and so forth, you can get really far on YouTube, no matter what you say, as long as you keep your opinions to yourself. Now, we recently learned about this with Rage After Storm, but as it turns out,
Yep.
YouTube audiences, they're not really that attuned to what people necessarily are saying all the time.
Of course, these remarks were made in regards to Tara, race mixing is like bestiality, McCarthy, whom, just for the record, I happen to think is, I suppose this is somewhat virtue signaling, but in any case, for the record, I think is wrong. I think she holds some very, let's just say, distasteful views, and that she's a bit of a wingnut. But what I also think is wrong is to attempt to undermine her channel's growth and to undermine what effort she has put in on the basis of her being a decent 5 or 6 with makeup female content creator. Because I saw these criticisms lobbed before with Teal Deer, and I saw it, well, greeted in a very different way by creators like Jeff, who didn't have a reply for it when the criticism was being lobbed by Nick. Now, this is to direct no disrespect at Jeff or Nick. This is just to state my confusion and a couple of my questions about the dynamics involved. Do I think that Teal Deer was right to call out individuals like Casara Vera and Roaming Millennial? No. Casara Vera puts out rather hilarious shitposty videos, decent commentary, and Roaming Millennial is an extremely intelligent individual. As content creators like Nearedge have posted and pointed out, some of her argumentation methods aren't necessarily as concrete or airtight as they could be, but that's by no means a damning criticism of her work. Also, the majority of her growth occurred prior to her showing her face on YouTube or other social media, so there's not really the same connection to be drawn there. Do I think that these individuals are aware of the fact that their attractive features are likely going to help them? Sure, because I don't think they're stupid. I think that to claim as an attractive individual that your looks aren't going to help you in any way and that people aren't going to notice this and that you wouldn't be given any sort of priority in a video setting over somebody who was not as visually appealing, well, I think that would require a certain degree of ignorance or stupidity, which I don't think either of those two ladies possesses. But in any case, why is it applicable to Tara and not applicable to Kasara, or a roaming millennial, or any other female content creator? Why should we not criticize somebody or attempt to undermine the validity of what they've created based on their looks? Well, because that's a, frankly, petty tactic, and it doesn't hold any weight. If you want to criticize what someone is doing, refute their argument and provide a counter argument. So not only destroy what they've put forward if you can, but put something forward of your own that you feel should stand in its place. Don't go after them because they're attractive. Don't go after them because they're ugly. Don't go after them because they're thin. Don't go after them because they're fat. Don't go after them because they're a man. Don't go after them just because they're a woman. Don't go after them because of what they are. A man, a woman, black, white, thin, fat, what have you. Go after them based on what they put forward and whether or not their claims hold water. In any case, that's been my thought for the night. I would also like to say thank you at this point to my patrons. I will have some Patreon-only content coming up before the end of the month. And I would like to say thank you to my newest patron, Kevin Graves. I just saw your memes and whatnot on my Patreon creator page tonight, and, well, they put a smile on my face. More than one or two smiles, for that matter. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night, and just think on if we're applying our principles evenly. See ya.